You have no idea how attached you are to your current life. And I can tell you this because I am currently sitting in a walk-in closet in Chicago, Illinois, when a week ago I was driving Uber full-time in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I didn't think I was attached to that life. I didn't think I cared whether it stayed that way or if it changed. I didn't think it mattered that much to me. But after day 3 or 4 of being here in Chicago, just a few days ago, the adrenaline of moving wore off just a bit, not a bunch, but just a bit. I had stuff in the apartment. I knew my way around the neighborhood a lot better. I had gone out. I had some fun. The adrenaline was starting to wane. And ever since then, the past 2.5 days, maybe 3 days, I began to have these flashes where I'll picture a part of the city. For instance, the Homestead Bridge or the Homestead Grays Bridge. I never drove across that bridge much, but the 2 weeks before I came here, I drove across that bridge a bunch, more frequently than I ever had before driving Uber full time. And for whatever reason, I was sitting on the windowsill out in the living room, and I had this flash come into my brain, this picture of the Homestead Grays Bridge at night. It's all lit up, going down to the waterfront in Homestead, and I pictured it, and I felt this well of nostalgia in my stomach. I felt this well of nostalgia deep in my absolute core, the absolute bottom of my essence. I felt this nostalgia, and it was very surprising. I didn't expect it to come up because I never liked going into Homestead as a driver. I didn't like going into that neighborhood, not only because I had, let's say, an interesting experience that I wrote about in my song Pushing 25, but I just didn't like to be that far away from the city. I like to stay in Oakland. I'd like to stay in Southside. I like to stay on Northside, downtown. I like to stay in Lawrenceville, Bloomfield, Shadyside, being in this nice circle where I can go here, 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 take this person to the bar, then pick somebody up at the bar, take them downtown, take somebody downtown to PNC Park, back to Oakland, whatever it was. I can go here, 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 here. So I didn't like to go very far out. But, whenever I thought about it today, and I really felt that image come to life within me, there was a part of me that said, damn, what are you doing here? What are you doing in Chicago? What are you doing in this new city? Why aren't you back home where you spent most of your life, where you know people, where you have family, where things are steady, calm, they're easily handled. Complications are few, and if they do come up, they're not difficult to deal with. And I can tell you that I'm here because I want adventure, because I wasn't getting that in Pittsburgh. I know that logically. I know that consciously, but unconsciously, that attachment doesn't fade like that. It doesn't just go away. It doesn't dissipate overnight, and it certainly doesn't seep out of you through your feet into the floorboards. It doesn't do that. It doesn't infect another person. It's not a disease. It's something that's within you. And it doesn't go away ever, really, but let's assume it does. Well, it's not going to go away overnight. It's going to take weeks and months and years. This is what happens with a breakup. Whenever you break up with somebody, that person is familiar to you. That's part of you. That is your world. That is your routine. That is your day, your week, your month, your year, hopefully your future, if you love them in the right way. When they're gone, it's a withdrawal. You still have that within you. And I bring this up because you probably haven't considered at a deep enough level, without any outside influence, without any other perspectives or thoughts on the subject, just how attached you are to your current life. Now, you may say, well, Nate, I hate my life. I don't like where I'm at. I want to change things. I'm sick of not making enough money, perhaps. That's something that somebody selling you on a course would definitely bring up, especially in an infomercial or some sort of webinar. Not making enough money, right? You're not happy with that. Maybe you're unhappy because you don't have a relationship. Maybe you're unhappy because you're not in the right city, kind of like I felt. Maybe you're unhappy because you don't have strong times with your family or nobody cares about you. Whatever it could be, you're unhappy with your life. That doesn't mean you're still not attached to your life. Because if you weren't attached to it, you wouldn't let it go. At least not attached to it enough, right? Because there's gradations. It's a sliding scale. You're never going to be fully 0% unattached to it until enough time passes. But you have to be a certain amount unattached. Maybe it's 30%. Maybe it's 15%. Maybe it's 45%. I don't know the exact number. But you have to be a certain amount unattached to it in order to actually make that leap. And you clearly haven't done it. So that means you're very attached to this life. Now, if you really hate it a bunch, you're going to have to accept that. You're going to have to figure out how to create inspiration or put yourself in a place where you're going to find inspiration, where it's going to hit you like lightning, Back to the Future style. You can almost plan your own motivation, your own come-up story, your own arc. You can almost write your plot in real time. You're going to have to find a way to do that in order to detach, to let go of it. I know that's what I did. I came out here twice before I moved here. And every single time, I was inspired in a new way, in many new ways. I felt like a different person. I knew that timelines were shifting. I understood that I was making a pivotal choice, or that I had the capacity to do so. Now, I had been planning this move for a while, at least mentally, at least thinking about wanting to do it. But it takes time as a human being to get it done. We are impulsive creatures in many things, but when it comes to routine, that's not the case. Even the person who looks like they don't have a routine, because, well, let's take a really harsh example. People I've seen driving late night in Pittsburgh. Perhaps I'll see them late night driving in Chicago. I've seen them before here. People that are doing drugs, people that are homeless by their own accord, not because of circumstance, because they created their circumstances, right? Those people exist. Our hearts go out to them, perhaps, if you're a halfway decent person, in my opinion, but those people don't look like they have a routine, but that's not true. They do. They have a routine, at least fundamentally. And in most of their life, there is going to be some sort of structure, even if it is haphazard and chaotic, to your life in comparison to how you live. Everybody has a routine, and it is not broken quickly because the human being is incredibly routine-oriented. We love to know how our days are going to go, and I can tell you that even though I felt a few times over the past couple of days those pangs of nostalgia, that yearning to go home, that yearning for comfort, that yearning for knowing what's going to happen, that hunger for something familiar, something that I could plan. I know that I made the right choice. Even if I didn't, there's no practical way to turn back. That isn't incredibly costly, and to most people would be incredibly embarrassing. But I know I made the right choice, moreover, because I've never felt more excited. It's the only thing I feel now. All I feel is excitement. There are emotions within that excitement, but the thing that I've learned over the course of 26 years, almost 27 years, is that it's not about the various emotions that come quickly, that come as little shots, that come as little seasonings thrown on the ground beef dish of life, perhaps. But it's more so the general flavor, and that general flavor is excitement for me, just like it's always joy. Right now, I have joy and excitement. Those are the general flavors. And since I feel that way, and since I want that feeling to persist, not because I know that those other feelings won't come and go, those other emotions won't come and go, but I want that fundamental feeling, that fundamental emotional state to persist. I know that I made the right choice. And I think that if you really want to change your life, because you're uncomfortable with it, but you're still attached to it, that may be the way to go, is find out or discover, uncover within yourself what fundamental emotion you want to feel day in and day out. Even if those other emotions come in fleetingly, quickly, in and out, bing, bang, boom, you know what fundamental emotion you want to feel as the bedrock of your existence. If you can figure that out, then you just have to then come up with a plan to put yourself in a place or in a situation, a circumstance, a set of circumstances surrounding your life where You have no choice but to feel that emotion, so long as you don't give into the temptations of the mind, all of the sweet talk, all of the comfort talk, all of the, oh, let me just put some ointment on that baby, boo, 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 all of that talk. If you don't give into that and you genuinely move through this authentically, only seeking to engineer for that feeling. And moreover, I believe if you're engineering for that feeling because you have another calling, perhaps you want to feel that way so you can show up better when you're around family. Perhaps you want to feel that way because you just want to be a ray of sunshine in your community, a community that needs it desperately. Perhaps you want to embody that emotion day in and day out because you're simply sick and tired of not, because you look at people who are, or at least look like they are, even if it's just social media hype, even if it's just dressing, even if it's just makeup on a pig, you see these people and you think, why can't I? And so that's your driver. I think moreover, if your driver is something that is going to be positive and uplifting for people, you're going to be rewarded more and more and more. You're going to get paid double, triple, quadruple interest on the money you're investing, that you have stashed away, that you're saving for a quote unquote rainy day. God, I don't miss them in Pittsburgh. But if you attack it through that lens, I've experienced being rewarded far more. Because even though being nice all the time can definitely set you back or not push you forward as quickly, and though I'm not advocating to be nice all the time, I am saying that being spiteful or vengeful or having motivations that are considered quote unquote dark, they do not give the same feeling. And over time, you do see leaks in the canoe. And those leaks become very hard to patch, especially if they start stacking up quicker and quicker and quicker. I think if you can attack this problem through these lenses, using these various perspectives, and or just completely negating what I say consciously and then just letting the words seep into you, and whatever resonates, that sends you on your path, then I believe you can get over any attachment you have. I believe you can create the life that you've always wanted, even if it's not exactly this picture perfect manifestation. I don't know who wants that anyway. I think having a little bit of mystery and a little bit of chaos, if not quite a bit of mystery and chaos in terms of your manifesting, is far more exciting, because you allow the universe and you allow these other forces that we can't really explain or see in their true sense, you allow them to work, because you never know what they'll come up with, right? Collaboration with the universe, not necessarily you saying, hey, universe, I'm going to get in this right state, so you're going to give me whatever the fuck I want. Maybe not. If you can attack it through this lens and you do it long enough, I think you can get everything you want. And I think the only thing separating people from being normal and being not normal, exceptional, is just that. Because I think once you enter that state, it doesn't necessarily matter how materially successful you are. It doesn't necessarily matter how far you go in your career, or how many countries you see, or the prestige you have, the status you claim, the throne you attain, that you sit on and, well, allow your name to cast out over your kingdom, per se. I don't think any of that matters at that point, because you've done it authentically and you've come to a place that the 99.9% just aren't going to come to. But at the end of the day, what do I know? With that being said, let me know what you think about this. I'm literally sitting in my closet right now before I go to bed, and it's the first recording I've done in this place, in a new city, after still having quite a few things to get done. But I will publish this quickly, though I've had a bad tendency of not doing that. I'm here to change. I'm here to be a new person. I'm here to bring a new energy, a new light, really dig up something that's always been dormant in me, that's always been latent in me. And hopefully something resonated with you. If it did, let me know. If it didn't, let me know why, perhaps. And if it did, I pray that this pushes you to create anything you want and be anyone you want. And if it didn't, I hope you find that inspiration and hope you feel that flame underneath your ass from some other source, if not one that is channeled directly into you as the conduit that you can be. So again, let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one. Much love, peace. This is the New Da Vinci.